to engage with. I mean, just try to understand. I mean, this came in 2-3 places. You know, I mean, it came in Times of India, it came in Times Today, it came in several places. This particular article. I wonder if any of you came across it. But it points out to a very interesting phenomena that increasingly in today's modern world or post-modern world, you know, people are unable to just even stay with themselves. Just stay with your own mind for some time. It becomes extremely difficult. And that's really the relevance of this topic, you know, what we are trying to talk today, which is the power of mind. So of course we are focusing here a little bit on habits, because when we speak about the mind, we could take several dimensions, but we are really going to speak of habits. So I start with this very famous quote that we make our habits, and then ultimately the habits make us. You know, as in, you know, the basic point is that habits ultimately control us. You know, though I mean advertisement may say anything. Like for example, I remember, I mean there was I don't know, it comes nowadays, but previously there was this Bristol cigarette company which had an ad, you know, I get what I want. You know, as if the person is controlling everything, because it gives a very nice feeling, you know, when you feel that, you know, you're controlling everything. I get what I want. In fact, in Marathi it was even more pronounced. It said basically, Jo mi tharvto to mi kartoch. You know, and you could see this guy, you know, boarding an aeroplane. You know, I mean, so generally we believe that, you know, we have, I mean, because everybody likes to have things under their control. So perhaps that ad tried to give a feeling that, you know, by you know, purchasing this particular brand, you can actually control the world. But actually it isn't that way. You know, ultimately what happens is we get controlled by the habits. That's the point. Yeah. So moving on to, you know, some simple definitions from the Oxford Dictionary of Habits. You know, it's a settled or a regular tendency. You know, it's a regular tendency. That's one definition. Another one is practice that is hard to give up. Indeed so. And yet another one is a mental constitution or attitude. You know, that means it becomes very much a part of yourself. In fact, that's something very interesting, which I'm sure all of you have heard about, the very word habit itself. Because if you remove H, they say a bit remains. If you remove A, bit remains. If you remove B, it still remains. So basically, it's a tendency that's very difficult to give up. You know, that's life. But it becomes too strong to be left. You know, to give it up becomes extremely difficult. So basically what happens is, before you realize that you've got the habit has got hold of you. So you're under, you know, you're being controlled now. You're no longer free. You know. So the ultimate real freedom, actually speaking, is, you know, freedom of mind. And our ability to control our own mind and emotions. That's actually real freedom. You know, where we decide what we want to do. Just like in the pantomime show, you must have just seen now that how a person, you know, who's controlled by the mind is forcing him to do things. But real luxury is where you can tell the mind that you want to do something and the mind follows you. You know, so Krishna, in fact, he says in the Bhagavad Gita that your mind could be your best friend or your worst enemy. It just depends on you. It just depends on you and me, how we have cultivated our mind. That's the real point we are talking about. Yes, next. Psychiatrists call it internet addiction syndrome. Especially, I mean, not in fact from early teens, 13, 14, etc. You know, where they are like, you know, even at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, they are addicted to staying on, you know, connected, being connected. You know, being connected to whatever social media they are into. You know, it's something serious actually. Why it is serious? Because we see there are repercussions of that. You know, the student is distracted from his studies, he is having a bad health. And, you know, psychiatrists in Pune, several of them, if you keep seeing in Times or any popular newspaper, you will see reports of these as well. You know, internet addiction syndrome, that's actually what it is called. You know, it's a modern example of a serious problem. You know. Now, if you go to the grave section, there are several. You know, any quick example comes to you about, I mean, I want some example of, you know, maybe even a popular personality, you know, which was kind of published, so everyone knows about it. You know, somebody who got into real trouble because of a grave bad habit. I mean, I wonder how many of you 2 years ago you may have noted, you know, newspapers and other media. Gone wrong there? Yeah.
Hello? Yeah, sorry.
Newspaper. I think I have to be very careful of this. newspaper and other media reported about Tiger Woods. He was a very famous golfer and extremely famous playing golf. And in fact, his case was very sensational. Since all of you know about it, I'm not really going to talk about it because it became really famous all over the world. His case was really very sensational because in America, 2 years ago, Tiger Woods was considered the symbol of character. Please remember this. That's exactly what he was considered as. In fact, if you know, Accenture and many companies who actually hired him as their ambassador, they hired him for character. He was a family man for several years, married to the same woman, and whatever. I mean, which is kind of considered a phenomenal achievement in the United States. And he was a man who spoke about ethics and morality and things like that. He was a man who stood for character in America. So when his thing got exposed, that he had extramarital affairs and so on and so forth, it became a very serious thing actually in America. That's why it was there all over in so many places in the media. Because otherwise it's pretty common that in the United States, so many people get into many such things.
Suicide because of some break in love affair, and next day the Dean Academics gave a statement that 1 or 3,000 boys committing suicide, not a big event, and that came in Times of India headline. Dean Academics IIT Chennai says that 1 out of 3,000 boys is not a big issue, and he has to resign. Okay, so I was giving a seminar for the professors from IIT that controlling mind is very, very important business. I was in IM, there also I was telling. So I'll tell you what, practical action. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, what you should eat that will control your mind. Number 1, Krishna says, Ayu Sattva Bala Arogya Sukha Priti Vivardhana Rasya Snigdha Sthira Hirda Ahara Satvika Priya. If you eat food in this category, your life will increase, power will increase, strength will increase, your body will become disease free, and the food we say is, it should be juicy, it should be wholesome, it should be cooked and taken within 3 hours, fresh. Okay. It should have pure ghee, and also the taste of the food should come here, like this, not just here. Second category of food, Krishna says, too spicy, too chilly, pungent, too bitter, too hot, and after you take and it makes your body very much hot, like kind of very green chili and like paste, all those things. If you take food in that category, then it will create diseases in the body. It says that while taking you will get pain, right? You get chilly or something like that. After taking you will get lamentation. Why? And you keep eating, you will get diseases. As soon as you go to doctor tell you stop oily, spicy, chili, all these things you have to stop, right? So this is the category 2 food. Category 3 food is food that is stale, pale, putrid, decomposed, making bad smell. Now who does eat such food? Who is eating such food in life? Bad smelling food? Anybody eats? No. Okay, I'll give the example now. Many of you, maybe you will be knowing somebody who is eating such food. When the Mac Burgers French fry that is fried 6 months back, it does not get decomposed even if you keep it open air, because it processed with nitric acid, nitric compounds, and nitric compounds are one of the top poisons for your liver. Okay, even the insects know what to eat. Okay, now what is the relevance in your life? If you eat the food in first category, fresh food, your intelligence will become very strong. You will get what is good and what is bad, and you will be able to choose between good and bad. You will hold to the good and leave aside the bad. This is if you eat food in first category. If you eat food in the second category, chili, too much, too spicy, too hot, pungent, sour, then you will know good, you know bad, but you will take decision based on your association, your friends, to eat good or to eat bad. If you eat food in the third category, food which is stale, putrid, fast food, junk food, mega, Mac, all Mac products, Mac burgers, all Mac products. If you eat any such food, Uncle Chips, bottled foods, then you will see good as bad and bad as good. No need to decide. Hare Krishna. Anybody Jain here? Jain? From Jain family? Yes. Okay. Have you ever heard a Jain terrorist? Jain terrorist सुना है कभी किसी ने? Jain terrorist बना कोई? See? Why? The food. The food gives them in mode of goodness and they are the businessmen. I am not Jain but I am. You become businessman because the food is very good, the first category food. It keeps your brain very powerful and you know how to work. Right? What is good, what is bad. Take the good, leave the bad. Simple. Right? I think they don't eat onion garlic also, right? Yeah. Food is a big factor for your intelligence. What makes you strong in taking decisions? And all of us want to make our intelligence strong, isn't it? Right? So see your food, what are you eating? There is your intelligence lie. जैसा खाओ अन्न वैसा होए मन. जैसा अन्न है वैसा मन. Okay? Thank you very much.
Okay, so now let us hear the voice of PICD. Okay? So this group will be a part of Krishna's group and this group will be part of Balram group. Okay? It's called game. When I say Krishna, you say Ram. Okay? When I say spirit, you say? Okay, are you ready now? 1,